Hello, dear friends, and here we are 30 Days of Inner Journey. Thought and Life is the book by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. This book is really phenomenal, and as said in the introduction, it's one that is studied in the schools of our generation in the spiritual realm and kindly shared with us as directives for those who want to succeed in their incarnation on the earth. And I say incarnation mostly because some people incarnate and they come from other planets. That's another story, right? But it's about the new birth. As Emmanuel says in the introduction, today is chapter 27, Obsession. Obsession is a technical term in Spiritism. Before we begin it, let's recap. 26 chapters have gone through, beginning with the introduction when Emmanuel reminds us that our minds are the mirror of life. Your mind and my mind, mirrors of life. We really, really need to attune higher to receive better reflexes of our own thoughts. That's why Emmanuel repeats this term, mental reflexes, mental reflexes. He said reflexes because as we think, we also emit and receive. It's an electro emission, magnetic attraction. So mental reflex, okay? That's precisely how it is. And he says, since this is the case, we need to learn how to manage our thoughts and feelings. We need to go one step higher, not only react and perceive or feel, but manage. But we begin by managing our emotions. Because he says emotions lead thoughts, attitudes, and then everything else in our lives. So directing our minds to the right direction, and that's our will. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is about the management and the supervision of all the departments of our mind, which is our will. And our will is so powerful that we can give direction to emotions, thoughts, and feelings, and everything else, and things manifest in that direction. So whenever we see something manifesting in our lives, we first think, this is the effect of a cause. What have I sowed in my life to now harvest these plants, these fruits, these winds, storms, beauty, heart. So we need to meditate. And on the following chapters, we're going to learn about the pathway we do through this growth, which is about cooperation. Law of society. Today, specifically in the chapter Obsession, we're going to learn about how often, most often than not, we conjugate forces that are detrimental to us. As I think positive, I connect with the positive. As I think negatively, I connect with the negative, and I resent it. Let us talk more about this, shall we? But before, let's say hi to our beautiful community, this beautiful group that grows each and every day together forever. We stay in each other's hearts and we'll love you together and forever. That's our destiny. Hello, Jussara and Valéria. So good to have you, Jussara, Valéria, here. Tânia, Andrea. Oh, Sunshine. Hello, my friends. Good to know you are coming to the symposium in May, directly from California. Beautiful, beautiful. You know, this is a good time to remind everybody What a unique opportunity for all of us to gather together and nourish our souls, exchange impressions, know that we're not alone. This is the 11th Spiritist Symposium in the United States, coordinated by the United States Spiritist Council. Jussara Korngold is here with us. And if you want to register, just go to www.spiritistsymposium.org and do your registration. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, thank you, Jussara, for knowing that you're doing wonderful. Yeah, all we need are ears, right? So, and feelings and love. You're good, Jussara, but it's good to know you're doing great. Didn't want to write because I wasn't sure if you're gonna respond, but it's wonderful. And as Jussara is here, reminder, go and do your registration because the symposium is a beautiful opportunity to learn and to serve. Adilson! Hello, my friend. Lea Severo. Your book, Pills of Trust, is on its way. Carlos put it in the mail today. Yes, the Spiritist Society of Virginia and Kardec Radio are selling the book Pills of Trust because we were given the opportunity to help out with other projects at the Fraternity Without Borders. And we needed the book too for the projects of Kardec Radio. So we collaborate in that regard. If you go to ssvirginia.org, you can buy the book Pills of Trust, which Mark and Carol Smith are recording for Kardec Radio. Okay? It's going to become an audiobook too. But read the book. And the book is a wonderful gift. Besides many other books, Pills of Trust. Patricia. Rihanna. Everything is rhyming here. Patricia, Rihanna, Melissa, Raquel, gratitude to you. Hello, Rudy. Wonderful to have you here. Angelita. And you know, that's wonderful to know that the Bezerra de Menezes Center group is preparing to come to Orlando for the Spiritist Symposium in May. It's wonderful. Friends, we're never going to regret uniting for the good, for the service. Because Emmanuel said in this book, if we want to get rid of the shackles of our previous lives, yes, because we did lots of things in previous lives. What do we do now? He said, we must seek the good, feel the good, visualize the good, and mold our lives to the good. It's a mantra. So powerful. Why not? And it's so wonderful. Beautiful weather, wonderful people, living and learning and enjoying and serving. Because when you're there, you're also helping others in many ways that you'll see when you come there, okay? Beautiful services there. Right now, we're going to read chapter 27. Obsession. Thought and Life by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. Published in 1958. Chapter 27. Obsession. If mediumship is regarded as attunement, obsession is the inner tug of war between lower forces as they interact with one another. Obsession, therefore, is an authentic phenomenon of interaction. It does not proceed only from the so-called dead to the so-called living. Essentially, it often occurs between incarnate spirits who overpower one another by means of the invisible threads of suggestion. The process is as follows. In order for one mind to address another and make itself felt and understood, it creates images and thus precludes the need for words or action. Through the principle of repetition, a mind reaches its objective by projecting to the mind it wants to control. If the receiving mind is in attunement with the one seeking to control it, an active circuit is then formed. Later on, words and action become a part of the process to consolidate the exchange. Thus, the condition of being spellbound is established. The obsessor and the obsessed begin to live and react reciprocally upon one another. Obsessions, therefore, are not one-sided. All such situations are a process of reciprocal interchange. And the longer and steadier the lower images are entertained between two spirits, the stronger the obsession. Both agents stray farther from their reality to enter a lower atmosphere of exchange, where they surrender to a sort of mutual fascination. There is a similarity here to that of a stone being carved. The more the chisel cuts into the groove, the deeper the marks, thus giving the image sharper and more enduring details. Another comparison can be made to a phonographic record whose audible sounds are registered in the grooves for later playback. A mind obsessed is similar to this. It registers the orders and prompting of the obsessor, especially during sleep, when our reflexes are less under control. An obsessed person obeys almost automatically such orders and promptings, just like a passive magnetized instrument, as they carry out these post-hypnotic suggestions. The more we surrender to a certain idea, the more we become converted to it and then manifest it outwardly. This explains how strange disturbances begin to take place that often appear in the form of illnesses or depressive conditions, afflictions, or insanity. These states can also lead to cruel deeds and death. Every case of obsession begins as a sketch vaguely drawn by someone else's thought that shows on the screen of our mind. It begins as a mere speck, then it becomes a visible line. Much later it is fully defined, sharply etched picture from which we receive unfortunate demands that imprison us in the ways of darkness. It is imperative that we learn to avoid idleness, for the idle mirror of our shadowy life may become addicted to that state and detained by the power of evil. Subsequently, we will become subjugated by evil extortionists who spread their diabolical nets of misery and crime. Give new life to your mind through study that elevates the thought process, and consecrate yourselves to incessant service to others. This is the ideal formula so as to liberate yourselves from all forms of shackles. In acquiring blessings for the spirit, and in spontaneous help to all the life forms that surround us, we'll be able to reflect the higher life. Therefore, we'll slowly advance from mental blindness to the glorious light of divine vision. Did you observe that both chapters from yesterday and today, they end with the same word, glory, glorious? Yes, we're talking about prayer and how it raises us from the valley of fragmented life to the pinnacles of a life of glory. And Emmanuel says that as we study and serve, we'll slowly advance from mental blindness to the glorious light of divine wisdom. It reminds me of a beautiful song. Oh yeah. Singing in the rain of our thoughts from the past. But we're singing, because now we know. We're singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. That's the feeling when people finally come out of the blindness of obsession. Yes, we're still receiving the shower of the thoughts we've created in many lives. But now we don't stop and cry, be depressed. We're singing. We're very light, like Gene Kelly. In the movie, Singing in the Rain. I tell you, go watch the movie, because it's a good way to recalibrate our hearts to optimism. And it's literally the image. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. I'm happy again not because I'm perfect. Not because I don't have debts to pay, spiritually speaking. Not because I have a lot to repair spiritually, emotionally, physically. But because now I understand. I understand that it's okay. That now I am loved by God. And I am capable of loving. And I, as a child of God, shall put this to the fullest manifestation of itself, love. And love, when we are in love with God, is a glorious feeling. Right, Carol Correa, she's here with us, texting. Thank you so much. Carol, yeah, it's a glorious feeling. Now we know. We're no longer blind. We hope. We hope. Let's go back. Yes, because Emmanuel is a wonderful teacher. In 1958, he gives us different scenarios to make sure we understand what it means. It's this single chapter when he goes overboard with the mechanisms. He really details the mechanisms of obsession, and he gives us different analogies to make sure that we get it. So the first thing we need to ask, what is obsession? But before we answer, let's say hi. Let's say hi to the friends. Hello, João Bosco. Beautiful Monday. Solange, thank you for the reminder. Trilhas da Libertação by Divaldo Franco. It explains about obsession. You're right. I'm not sure. Do we have that in English? I'm not sure. But you're right. Manuel Filomeno de Miranda is a spirit, very wise spirit. Spirit is spirit, who wrote several books on obsession through Divaldo Franco, and one of them is already in English, named Obsession. I think you can acquire at sgny.org and maybe at ssbaltimore.org, I think. And you have chapters of the book Torments of Obsession in the Spiritist magazine, spiritismagazine.com, thespiritismagazine.org, sorry. .com, oh my gosh, .com. And all in the app, free app, you can read all of them. Every issue has at least a chapter of that book. But what is obsession? Right? João Bosco, thank you, Solange. Luciana, long time no see you, huh? Yes, Rudy, spontaneous help when we're talking about this process. And Melissa, you're there. Friend, he begins, as every chapter, observe the way he writes this book. He's not telling stories for a cup of tea. No, this book is not for a cup of tea. This book is for to pencil in The Observations. It's a study book. You can try reading while sipping a cup of tea, but I think it's going to be tough because it's very, very objective, very concentrated. In each and every paragraph, he is very precisely giving definitions, he's giving mechanisms, analogies, solutions. Every chapter is definition, and then we have mechanisms, analogies, and solutions, including prevention and remediation. Of course, he talks in the mechanisms about the effects of such usage of a tool or entering a mechanism, the effects, the cause and the effects. He says, if in mediumship if mediumship depends on connection, attunement, it's like our internet connection. You may have a beautiful computer, but if you don't have the connection for the internet, you're not going to go anywhere regarding the communication with other minds, right? But what is obsession? He says, obsession is the inner tug of war between lower forces as they interact with one another. So in the first paragraph, he already tells us, if you feel you're under obsession, forget the fact that you're a victim. Right? Yes, right. Victim, no more. Oh, but I'm being obsessed. The spirit is... But what am I doing to allow the plug-in? Where's the inner outlet? And what am I doing to keep it in? Why are other minds able to assess me? So I need inner knowledge. And that's why we need this chapter. He's telling us from the get-go of this chapter that if you feel that there is definition of obsession, this persistent negative thoughts onto you by other minds, whether incarnate or discarnate, the first question we need to ask is not like, who is obsessing me? Because majority of people, they ask this question. Why are they doing this? Who is doing this? Wrong question. Why? Why am I allowing it? What in me is allowing the connectivity? You have a router inside of you. A router that provides for the connection in your home. You only have internet not because Verizon is there working for you and they send it to you like a bulb. No, you must have a router in your house for the physical, the mechanics of it all. So what is the router of obsession for you? What inside of us is providing the outlet for this plug of other minds? What is the button, as we say, that people are pushing in us? And it's working. Because we're becoming really, really imbalanced. Are there levels? Yes, there are levels of obsession. Chapter 23 of the Medium's book by Kardec is the first and best reference. Always go back to Kardec. Always. And then Emmanuel, André Luiz, always first to Kardec. And he says, the Medium's book, chapter 23, the foundation of obsession. 3 different types, levels. Right? We're very grateful that Kardec laid out the foundation that cannot be put aside. We need to go back always, study, revisit, because that's the foundation. There is the simple or common obsession, What is simple and common? Because it's small? No. Because it's very common. What does it mean? People think about us in a negative way and we start feeling bad and we destroy our whole day. It's like this. You go, wake up, and you go to the first store. People say something you don't like how my day just started the wrong way. See, this day is doomed. And then you go to work and you decide to do nothing. And then you go home telling your whole family, don't count on me because my day has been bad since the first hour. Yeah, right there. We accepted the invitation to stay in the negative. It was projected onto us. We held it, the mental dart, and now the poison is inside of us. I became the obsessed because I made a decision to believe in the negative. If you believe in the negative, if I believe in the negative, I'll be obsessed. Because that's what they are talking about. Today, now we understand why Jesus said to his disciples once, I always prefer to believe in the good. Why? Because he knows if he decides to believe in the bad, bad for him. Today, I was making my bed in the morning. And I always make my bed thinking, thank God I have this bed. And Mentor Joseph taught me once, a while ago, saying this is your portal, symbolically speaking, to the studies in the spiritual realm. So make sure that when you assemble things together in your bedroom, that you do with love, with kindness. Okay? Because later, it's going to be through the resting of the physical body that you'll be freer, emancipate, as Kardec says in chapter 8, part 2 of the Spirit's book. And he says, listen to the instructions of the higher spirits. And as Carol Correa is kindly sharing with us, replace the mental dart with a mental heart. Love it. Hello, Elder. Big hug. Luciana Antuani, Rita de Cássia, Rose. Yes. So, when we're there, preparing for this moment, this morning, the bed, this morning, Mentor Joseph was saying, Vanessa, share with people that there are minds very organized in the spiritual realm that are trying to make everyone who lives in the United States believe that we're not worthwhile. Ask everybody to think of the beautiful things that America has done for the world. Create together this beauty of gratitude, even if you don't live in the United States. Think about the many beautiful things that have been happening in the world and have happened thanks to the values of the United States of America in its foundation. And we're going to counterbalance and say, I'm not going to buy into this idea that we're doomed. No, we're not. And he said even more. He said, this is the time when some branches are being cut so we grow stronger. So let us every day send a thought of gratitude to the United States, even if you don't live in the United States, and say, I've come to know that thanks to the efforts of those who live in the United States, who were born there or became Americans. They gave us a new life around the world. How many discoveries, scientific, even in all fields of life, all fields of social life. Many lines of psychology came from the thinkers of this country. The greatest advancements in all sciences come from here, but not necessarily from Americans, but from people who are here and are supported by the financial system that was created here. So friends, how can we buy into that idea that we're doomed, we're being punished for XYZ things? We can't. I don't believe in that. I believe in the good. I believe that thanks to the chaotic result of this election, we're learning new potential in ourselves, in our society. There is what we call collective obsession. If everybody in the world starts believing in the bad, that the world's gonna end, that there's gonna be a third war, we're creating that war. If you believe that is true, you're creating that war, and I'm creating that war. We cannot think about it. We cannot feel it. We shouldn't. We must strive to see the good. Said Melissa, very wisely, Melissa, we must strive to see the good, believe in the good, seek the good, feel the good, visualize the good, and mold your life to the good. That's Emmanuel's instructions in this book. And he says here, obsession is an authentic phenomenon of interaction. It does not proceed only from the so-called dead to the so-called living, in discarnate to incarnate. Essentially, it often occurs. Now I think this statement is very, very unexpected. He says that often obsession happens between incarnate spirits who overpower one another by means of the invisible threads of suggestion. Yeah. And now with the social media, it comes true. Yeah? It's when I look at somebody and I overpower them, as he says here, overpower by means of invisible thoughts and feelings. The worst case scenario, parents who look at their children and don't believe in the good of their children. They look at their children, don't see the divine in their children. Who will then see it in this world? This is an obsession from parent to child. Siblings looking at one another and, whenever you think of that brother or sister, like, we're obsessing them. Oh, no, I'm not, Vanessa. Well, but if I only have, by definition, Kardec said, a persistent, negative thought about that person, I am an obsessor. If every time I think of a neighbor, I only think of bad things, these thoughts are not like here. They go. They're emissions. I am being an obsessor of that person. If it's that a persistent, negative influence, feelings and thoughts, words and actions. Bullying, persistent, negative influence. So Emmanuel is breaking the news. Do not blame the obsessors all the time, because you amongst yourselves. And he has a good example. Read the book 2,000 years ago by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier. Here I have an example at hand. Besides the discarnate spirits, that he doesn't even describe that much, almost nothing. he clearly portrays to us that his life became a literal mess because a father and a son planned, created a plot against Senator Publius Lentulus. And throughout their lives, it was that obsession. He didn't know where everything was coming from. He was blind, so blind that he actually became blind in that life. Blinded by one of his very obsessors. Literally. Read the book. Read it again. Hello, Grazi. Good seeing you. And she's saying a persistent negative thought about the person is obsessed. Exactly, it is. And he says most often than not, we're obsessed. You want a therapeutic moment? Yes. Question. Tough, but real. Am I an obsessor? Am I an obsessor? Do I have people in my life that whenever somebody says anything about them, I only have negative comments, negative thoughts, negative feelings? But Vanessa, that person, we're not questioning whether the person is good or bad. We're asking if we are emitting negative feelings, negative thoughts, negative words and actions influence, exerting that persistent negative influence over that person, then we are obsessors. Believe it or not. Melissa is asking us how we can break a collective obsession. As Mentor Joseph said, we need to counterbalance with the good. How? The spirits are coming, like in the book Jesus in the Home. There's the story of a man who was doing great, fantastic. He helped a community, and then it was bothering the bad spirits. So a bad spirit who was learning came to a bad spirit that was more, experiencing badness, and said, what do we do to break him apart, make him stop helping people? And then the major evil one, as Jesus said, was like, okay, you tell me. And then the little guy said, well, let's kill him. No, it's not gonna work. If you do it, it's going to make him a martyr. Okay. Maybe create financial problems for him? No, because if that's for this type of helper, he's gonna dedicate himself even more to helping others. People are gonna feel like he's fantastic because he's overcoming all his obstacles. Okay, so then maybe destroy his family? No, then he's gonna love the universal family even more. Okay, go ahead. One more time. And then one after the next, he said, you didn't get it. You want to break his spirit? Easy. Just go there and whisper every day in his ears that he's a nobody. That he's trying to help others, but who is he to help others? He has his shortcomings. He has his imperfections. He's pretending he's a hypocrite. He's this undermining him, putting his self-esteem down. And then, okay, he's like, okay, I'll do it. He goes there and starts whispering. Not words of wisdom. Words of destruction. Putting his self-esteem down. Isn't that a voice we hear probably every day? You're gonna get sick. Oh, this pain, maybe it's cancer. And we're like, oh my God. And then we're like, let me call the doctor, let me do an exam. I know I must have something because I always has this pain. Or, you see, now the world is gonna end. A third war, da da da. And we're like, oh my gosh, why did I come here? What is gonna happen to us? Why did it? And then we start helping others. We start being alone. We start being more reactive and afraid, etc., etc. And that's exactly what happened to that man. He bought into that negative idea. He stopped working to help others. He felt so depressed he didn't feel like eating. He died. No, who told the story? Not me. No. Who? Jesus. Jesus, it's in the book Jesus in the Home by Neil Lucio through Chico Xavier. It's already in English. Go to EDICEI of America, EDICEI of America.com and get your book. How do we break a collective obsession? First, as individuals, we need to believe in the good and to feel the good, visualize the good, visualize everything, people, brothers, sisters together. And that's exactly what's happening. People are coming together more than ever. And use social media to help people. Yeah. I learned about Instagram and I didn't know. Carlos niece. Oh, Carol Correa is saying, or listen to Kardec Radio. Listen to it on Kardec Radio, exactly. So it's very interesting because Amanda told me about Instagram and how people need, and I said, never thought about it. But then Joseph said, use it. Now more than ever, people need all social media, all different types, feeding the souls, and especially the youth. Especially the youth, because they are the ones who are going to boost the new generation. Anything you can do, a little thing, a big thing. Okay? Can I give you another example? How to counter the collective? I was in a store and I wanted to use coins to pay because it was so little money. I said, I'm not going to use credit card. I have some coins, but they were in a little bag. And I had to count because I had like dimes. And I said, maybe I should pay with coins. And then the cashier looked at me and said, do you want me to count for you? I was impressed. I was like, really? No, I can count for you. And I said, okay. And she was so patient. She was so young, so patient, counting and counting and counting. And at the end I said, I'm impressed because you took the time to count the money. You didn't have to do this. Thank you. And she said, no, I'm doing nothing. And I said, your generation, many of them, they don't want to do the work, but you're doing great. Keep it up. And then other people who were her colleagues, he heard it. So I said, do you mind if I give you the rest of the change that I have? She said, no, please. I cannot accept it. So I said, all right. And then Mentor Joseph said, call her manager. And tell her manager how good she's doing. That's how you can do your part. And I said, I called. And I said, your team is great. She did something that is rare to find nowadays. And she said, oh, thank you so much. And I said, it's not me, it's you. You did great. Please keep it up. It's so hard to find this type of customer service nowadays. So when you see the good, praise the good. Because as Carol Correa is sharing with me now, there's God in the good. Look at the word, God, good. There's God in the good. So when we see the good, as Carol Correa is saying, we see God. Yeah. So when you see the good, that's how we counterbalance. Highlight the good, the good. Say it out loud. Believe in the good. Make people feel that they are important and they are needed. They are useful. Right? Thank you so much, Antonio Henrique, for sending good vibrations. Thank you. We all need it. So, he says more. So, since, did you answer the question? Are you an obsessor? Am I an obsessor? I need to think. Go through the list of people I often think about and say, do I only think the bad about this person? As Haroldo Dutra Dias once said, often we take a picture of a person, and when they're doing something bad, years go by, people have changed, but we're still looking and we're still referring to that moment. And then we become obsessors of the person. Yes, that's how it is. The process is as follows. So now, after the definition, he tells the process. In order for one mind to address another, we make itself felt and understood. And make itself felt and understood, I create images. So remember when we said yesterday, images. Create images. And this will boost my need to put it into words and action. So you think in images. I will tell you now, apple. What are you thinking? Apple the fruit or Apple the company? Are you thinking Apple equipment? What kind of equipment? Or Apple the fruit? Green? Red? Which one? Gala, Red Delicious, so many different types. We think in images, but we need words and actions to translate them. Somebody else to pick it up, they need to pick up the words and transduce into images. Not necessarily we are communicating, because communicating is putting something in common, and action to put something in common, not necessarily. So he says, and then it's like I send an image. You are not you. I will tell this cable, so I don't say about people. Cable, you're a bad cable. I think bad cable, feel bad cable, and I tell it bad cable in my mind. So then I repeat to it, bad cable, bad cable. And the mind reaches its objective by projecting to the mind it wants to control. So I say, bad cable, bad cable. Right? Mind to mind. If the receiving mind, if this cable, look at the cable, is in attunement with me, then we connect like this, look. And I have this cable here because of cardiac rate, okay? But let's say, if I say to the cable, and it connects with me, we're connected. We form an active circle, okay? And now what I think is gonna go through the cable, literally, because we're in the same synchronicity. Obsession. Obsession is it depends on the quality of thought. It must be negative. It's not an obsession of chocolate, which is good. I'm joking. Just to make it a little lighter, friends. Okay, but this is not about obsession with chocolate. It's about the negative, the persistent negative thoughts that we're emitting. And then if somebody's picking up active circuit, later on words and action become part of the process to consolidate the exchange. It's like spelling. I spell like, boom. You are a bad cable. You are a bad cable, exactly. And then they leave and react reciprocally upon one another. What does that mean? I'm not a victim. You are not a victim. Do you feel you're being obsessed right now? don't need to share here, okay? But, and I'm just saying you don't need to share because we don't want to expose your privacy. But if you need help, you count on us, and we'll refer you to practitioners, spiritist practitioners around the world that we know of. But it's very important to recognize, am I being obsessed then? Am I believing in this negative word that is being whispered to me? What is the outlet that I have? What is the router inside of me that is allowing this to be connected? What is it? And he says, obsessions are not one-sided. It's a reciprocal interchange. The longer and the steadier the lower images. You see, Emmanuel, throughout this chapter, he talks about images. What does that mean? Solutions. You want to get out of it? Visualize. No wonder we need therapeutic visualizations. Visualize harmony, reconciliation. Visualize yourself past this moment of difficulty. Visualize the beauty and the harmony that you want to achieve so you can get out of it. Out of this loop. It's a loop feeding itself. Your bad cable, your bad cable. I'm just talking about the cable because we don't want to send bad messages to anybody. But it's a beautiful cable actually, right? It's a very cute cable. But right now I'm saying bad cable. You're not working. No, it's working, but we're not working with it. Bad, 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 bad. It actually doesn't feel anything. It cannot pick up my images. But human to human, we can. Am I emitting bad images to others? Bottom line. Am I emitting bad images about myself? Scale 0 to 10. Pleep, 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 pleep. Let's visualize. Beautiful scale. Like a monitor showing 0 to 10, 0 to 10, 0 and 10. Let's ask ourselves, how often do I hear a voice inside of me saying something bad about myself to me? It doesn't matter where it comes from, you or others. How often? In one day, daily, it's a daily measure, average. What is the frequency of possible thoughts and feelings, images that you perceive against your own self every day? And we're not talking about identifying if others are doing this, but if we feel that voice saying, you're not good enough, you don't deserve any good, you see who you are, 0 to 10. Never, rarely, sometimes, often, always. In one day, the whole time. We need to identify to find help. Hello, Maria. Hello, Mônica and Daniel Castellani. Yes. So it's this interchange. We need to identify it because there are two other types of obsession which it's harder to identify. The simple and common obsession that Kardec mentions in chapter 23 of the Medium's book is something that we can still observe. It's like, oh, I feel something is negative. But then when we go to fascination, we cannot see it clearly. We're blind. Many people around the world, that's why it's useless to feel hatred about people who don't know what they're doing. Did Jesus, our guide and model, feel hatred and indignated because Caesar was doing something wrong? No. Does it mean he was passive? No. But he worked in his sphere of influence. It's amazing to say because his sphere of influence is the whole planet. But in his humility, he learned that as an incarnate, he needed to teach us that if we want to demand anything of others, we need to do it ourselves first. So, third step, third level of obsession, subjugation. It's when our will is obstructed. The connection between the minds is so symbiotic that it's like drug addiction. I would like to get out of it, but I can't. It's actually my will is weakened, is weak. It's subjugation. So he gives us beautifully in this half of the chapter, he says, as this reciprocal interchange happen, okay, he gives us analogies. He says, it's similar to that of a stone being carved. The more the chisel cuts the groove, the deeper the marks. So it's about that persistent negative influence, persistent negative influence. And the worst obsessors are the ones that are the closest to us. Melissa was very instrumentally asking us about how to counterbalance this collective obsession. If you really want your family to strive, you need to believe in the good of your family. Invest on it. Visualize it. Mold yourself to the good. If I live in a country and I don't believe in the good of this country, I am an obsessor of this country. Because I'm only thinking the negative. Do you love the country where you're living in? Or are you potentially an obsessor? Because you constantly only think the negative about it. I know some people who live in the United States and complain. But this country, yes, people deserve to suffer because look what they do, okay? Okay. Let me give you a certificate. Certificate of obsessor. Because right now, you're an obsessor. You're only influencing this country in the negative way. Because you don't believe in the good. You don't want the certificate of obsessor? The ID? No, me neither. Thank you very much. I'm gonna love this country. Yes. How? Singing and dancing. Singing and dancing. Exactly. We're gonna sing and dance wherever we are in the world. Right? We're gonna sing and dance right here and now and say, I love it. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies. Yes, America, America, God shed thy light on thee. La da da da, in brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Believe it or not, when I got my American citizenship, the adorable Divaldo Franco called me on a Skype and he sung that song to me, America the Beautiful. No matter where you're living in the world, play that song, because it's the true expression of what the United States of America is all about. And it means, even if you're in Australia, even you are in other parts of the world, this is the opportunity for you to love the brain of the world. And it is the brain. The brain. We better love the brain. As a neuroscientist, I tell you, fascinated about the brain in both ways. Our brain and the brain of the world. What a beautiful brain. What a beautiful legacy. And we are about to heal it. Let us heal it. Yeah, it's about healing. Healing from within. Okay? So it's about this inner. As Rudy is saying here to us, the kingdom of God is within us. Leo Tolstoy, thank you so much. Thank you, Andrea. You love the United States. Hello, Osvaldo and Rihanna is saying, analyzing myself to correct my thoughts. We can't stay there. The work to be done is great. My country needs good thoughts and vibrations. It starts with us. Beautiful South Africa. Yes. Julie is here with us, right? Friends, beautiful opportunity for us to get our obsessor identity and trash it out. Oh yeah, trash it out. I'm no longer an obsessor of my family, of my country, and especially of me. No, no, no. I love myself. I love myself. I know what to do. I love and approve of myself in ways that are pleasing to me. I love and approve of myself in ways that are pleasing to me. I need to love myself. I'm a child of God. I have no right to push me down. Finally, Emmanuel says in another comparison, because he's a wonderful educator, he says it's about the player, the LPs of the past, the phonographic record, right? We need those register groovings for the playback. The mind of the obsessor is similar to this. It registers the message that is sending, and it plays. The more we surrender to a certain idea, the more we become converted to it. So what are you believing in? People are talking about, be careful about this Donald Trump. Be careful about the... Don't buy into this. Say, he's a child of God. His administration is a child of God. We're going to do what we have to do in our sphere of influence, but I'm not going to believe the bad. This is a good time, yes, when we are learning more of one another, when we're teaming up and doing more than staying in our comfort zone. So thank you very much for being a catalyst. He's unconscious, but a catalyst. Okay? Believe in the good. Feel the good. Visualize the good. Mold our lives to the good. Okay? That's wonderful. Besco and Ellie are there. Big kiss to you, friends. Thank you. And finally, he wraps up by saying, this is how strange vibrations begin to take place and turn into illnesses and depressive conditions and insanity, afflictions, cruel deeds, and death. Yeah, we hear each and every day. So when you see somebody going crazy, you believe it didn't start that day. It's already the consequence of a long-standing process, a deep one, I would say, as Emmanuel is saying to us. Every case of obsession begins in a sketch. Oh, now Emmanuel is wrapping up by saying to us, if you start drawing a line, be careful. May this line be good. Or, little by little, line after line, we create a beautiful smiley face. Wanna draw it? I do too. Look, beautiful drawing, huh? A sketch. I want to draw a little bit, and then a little bit more. And then a little bit more. And then tomorrow I come here, a little bit more. Oh, what is it? An egg? No. A ball? No. Let's see. Oh. Whoa. Ah, yay. Happy face. You see? Little by little, trace after trace after trace after trace, I created the whole image of a happy face. Yes. Happy is always good. Don't worry. Be happy. Oh yeah, don't worry. Be happy. Choo-doo-doo-doo-doo, dooby-dooby-doo. Dooby-dooby-doo. Don't worry. Be happy. And that doesn't mean we're living the la-la land of life. It means we believe in the good. We feel the good. And we are visualizing the good and transforming our lives to the good. But now he's gonna tell you the key. What do I do? And it's the first time in this book, and it says, if you read all the ones and compare, chapter 27 is the first time Emmanuel is so assertive that he finalizes the chapter with a command. He doesn't say, if this happens, it's gonna happen that way. He gives you and I a command. In 27 chapters, it's the first time he gives a command. He says, give new life to your mind through study that elevates the thought process, and consecrate yourselves to incessant service to others. Did we hear that? He said incessant, meaning non-stop, unstoppable and non-stop service. Study things that elevate our thoughts and serve always. This is the ideal formula. So you want the collective to change? March of kindness. Beautiful use of social media. Study and serve always. Non-stop, my friends. That's the only way to liberate ourselves from all forms of shackles. So be it, right, Carol? You want to be free? Me too. I want to say it like Frozen. I'm free, let it go of the bad thoughts that come to you. And think of the good ones. And in acquiring the blessings for the Spirit, in spontaneous help to all the forms of life that surround us, we'll be able to reflect the higher life. And he says how negative it is when we are idle. What is to be idle? Doing nothing. Nothing useful. Oh, but I just want to relax. Or as Dr. Gru says in The Despicable Me, chillax. You want to chillax? That's not good. That's only for Dr. Gru. Because in our case, we cannot relax. Our relaxation comes in the rhythm of service. Service is, I'm sitting here. You want to talk to friends? Bring a book. Yeah, read a message. Talk about the message. Good messages. Okay? Yeah? As Mentor Joseph said to me the other day, in times of war, we have no time for ice cream. No time for ice cream. So what do we do? Study and serve. Study and serve. That's the ideal formula to liberate ourselves. Friends, it's already the last day of January, January 31st. What a beautiful month together. And 1 month is going to end, and we're celebrating that we're giving, empowering ourselves with the tool of believing in the good, seeing the good, feeling the good, visualizing the good, molding our lives to the good, and serving others. There's no better time on the earth to serve than today. So enjoy your night in service and learning in the spiritual realm if you're going to sleep. If you, like Julija and Rihanna and others, are going to continue your day, the last day of January, may you continue in your beautiful services to help all forms of life, all forms. And hopefully, God willing, we'll be together at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another chapter, 28, Illness. Ay, mãe, really? Oh, mamma mia. Illness? Yeah, but come back. We have good news. This is good news, not bad news at all. And by the way, Emmanuel wraps up the chapter by reminding us we'll slowly advance from mental blindness to the glorious light of divine vision. So, singing in the rain, I'm singing in the rain. What a glorious feeling. I'm happy again. A lot of kiss, gratitude, working together to help our planet and one another.